What's up, guys? It's Christian, your host of Electronic Dance Money. Just wanted to say first and foremost, this is one of my favorite episodes I've ever recorded. I've got Wyatt Christensen from DAW Nation on. The dude is a genius. His marketing is levels beyond what I could imagine. He's gonna be one of the best teachers in this episode for you guys. I'm so excited to have him on. But not only that, just want to let you know, listen to the entire episode. Listen to the full episode. And then once you're finished with this episode, head on over to the DAW Nation podcast and play his most recent episode, or go to enviousaudio.com/episode 42. I'll leave a link on there for his most recent episode. We split this one in half. We decided that both of our audiences should probably hear this, what we have to say in here. So he's sending his audience over here, and I'm sending my audience over there. Go check it out. There's going to be, it's basically a two-parter. But if you play these episodes first, starting with this episode of Electronic Dance Money, then going over to DAW Nation and listening to that, it's basically one continuous episode. But in this one, we're going to be learning about one very specific subject while also getting to know Wyatt a little bit better. And then over on his episode, we continue this one and we get more into the topics of sales funnels, lead magnets, selling your product, awesome marketing tactics. It's going to be great. So when you're finished with this episode, I would say first listen to this episode, because this one's going to set the scene for the episode over at DAW Nation. We're going to be kind of laying down the foundation here and then getting into some more of the fun, nitty-gritty stuff. So without further ado, enjoy this episode of Electronic Dance Money with Wyatt Christensen from DAW Nation. Hey guys, welcome to Electronic Dance Money, your number one business resource for making money as electronic musicians and producers. All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Electronic Dance Money. Super excited for this episode. This is going to be a really good one. This has been one that's been in the works for a couple of months now, a few months. Been waiting and working with my guest here and his assistant and getting a date scheduled, and so happy we're finally doing this. My guest today is Wyatt Christensen. You're the co-owner of DAW Nation, and then you just host the DAW Nation podcast, correct?
Great freaking question. First off, hi everyone, I'm Wyatt. And to answer your question, I'm actually the full owner. I'm not the co-owner. And then
okay,
so I'm full owner and I run everything. Yep.
Okay, I thought you were partnered with AU5.
Great question. So when we started, when I say we, wow, okay, I would say we as in the company, because when you get into legal terms, you have to speak as a we. I started DAW Nation, and then along the way, I brought AU5 in to create a product with him underneath DAW Nation, and so we are co-owners of the products themselves. But DAW Nation in general, I am the sole owner. That's correct.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I see. Awesome. Well, I love it, dude. How long have you? When did you start DAW Nation?
It's a great question. So I started it in 2017. I was about to graduate from Icon Collective, and I saw the inner workings with there, and I knew the things that I loved the most about Icon Collective. And the thing I love most about it was the opportunity to learn from other artists that like came through. They like come through Icon and like once a month or once every couple weeks, and that was the best part. Everything else was like, oh, this okay, but that was like whoa. And so in 2017, right before I graduated, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it myself. You know what I mean? And that's when it all came about.
Yeah, man. I mean, sometimes you see the way the process works and you're like, shit, I could do this. What am I do? Why not start something like this? Because I know, and with your background in marketing, which let's really briefly dive into your background in marketing. Are you self-taught with everything? Have you just read a bunch of books and done research, or did you go to school for marketing? Because your marketing is, levels beyond most people. I mean, I wish I had the marketing skills that you have. And I get complimented all the time for marketing, but I'm like, when I look at you, I'm like, no, I know nothing.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. So if you look at my story from bird's eye view, you'd be like, oh, of course, that's where you learn marketing. But it's actually a little bit more complicated. So I actually came from a very entrepreneurial family. So I grew up in a very small town of 244 people. The town next to it has 5,000 people. And in the town with 5,000 people is where a business where my grandfather and my dad started the business, and it employs about 70% of the valley. And so you would think, oh, that's where he learned it. Nope, I just fixed swamp coolers there until I was 21. So that's not where it was. And then I did go to school, and I did get a bachelor's degree in social media marketing. So you'd be like, oh, that's where you learned it. Nope. I was actually teaching my teachers. I was actually the one that was like, no, actually, you guys are wrong. This is what you should do. They're like, whoa, are you serious? Like, yeah, that's what you do. And so really where it came from was it came out of a pain. Okay. And this is fun because this ties into marketing, because marketing is all about solving a pain point, or pointing out a pain point and solving it, or a desired outcome, or so on and so forth. And the pain that it came from was as I was getting done with Icon, as most producers notice within their first couple of years, they're like, holy crap, like it's actually kind of difficult, number one, to get your song out and to blow it up, or or to also make a living off what we do. And it's like, as a husband and as a father of two, that is like, holy crap, number one, I don't have a lot of time. Like I'm a dad, I'm a husband, you know what I mean? Like I don't have a lot of time. And then I have to, once you have a wife and kids, like the amount of money that you need to survive is drastically increased when you have a family. And like,
right. And it's no longer about you anymore either.
That's right. It's absolutely insanity. It's absolute insanity. And so from that pain, I was like, okay, so I had this, I've always had, I don't want to say I always had, I can't remember when, but I had this realization that I was like, dude, these things that we carry around in our pockets, these computers that we have, that we sit at our desktops, these things are so ridiculously powerful. Like we can reach anyone, anywhere in the world, right? I remember my mom went to Thailand one time and we FaceTimed, and I just thought, like, even 20 years ago, this wasn't possible. And I was like, what the, like I knew that I had this deep inside feeling, or I had this feeling deep inside of me that we already had the tools to blow up anything that we wanted to. We already had the tools to create whatever we wanted to and get it out to the people that really, really would resonate with it. I knew that, like, that was a truth that I could not refute. And so I was like, but it looks like no one in the music industry knows what to do with that. Like literally no one. Like I remember talking to my teachers at Icon. I was like, what do you do? And they're like, oh, well, basically just put it out and try and hit up playlists and maybe, boost a Facebook post with $50 and so on and so on. I'm like, that's like the equivalent of like running an ad in a newspaper. Like you just hope that people see it, right?
And you're just throwing money away. You're throwing money at the wall and hoping something happens without actually testing or trying anything.
Exactly. And for, I understand, like for most producers, like, like spending money, or really most artists, for spending money, like that's, like it hurts, but it's not that big of a deal. But when you have a wife and kids, I'm sorry, like, bro, it's like, that's the difference between having diapers for a month and only having diapers for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, and so it was like, I'm sorry, that's not a very good answer. I drive down the street to go to, to go to a restaurant, to go to Walmart, to go to wherever. Every single one of those businesses is not relying on that type of business model. They're not like, I don't know, hopefully we build this thing here and hopefully we make money. Everyone has like formulas, and they have like predictable outcomes that come from it, and systems. And I'm like,
systems. You said it right there.
You said it, dude. I was gonna bring that up. And so, and so I was like, but how is it that literally every business that I drive by has way more confidence, has way more of a system than literally every single freaking person in the music industry, right? And so it ate at me. And finally I had to I had to take a leap of faith, and I was like, I'm gonna step away from the music industry for a minute, and I'm gonna go learn business somewhere else, because I really don't feel like anyone in the music industry that at least I know of is real, like actually knows what's going on. And tell you what, dude, that was the best thing in the world for me, because this is incredible. So once you separate yourself from this on a marketing basis, you separate yourself from the music industry, you start to understand, holy crap, it's like the music industry on a marketing basis is living in like an eighth world country compared to every other company or every other business out there. As I started learning about other businesses, especially online businesses, and how they marketed and how they were not only profitable, but I mean like unbelievably profitable. Like if I knew that you could make $2,500 a month off of music, I would have passed out. Let alone these businesses that are making like $250,000 a month from their online businesses. You see what I'm saying? And so from there, I was like, okay, they know what they're doing. People that have normal online businesses, they know what they're doing. I want to learn from them. I don't want to learn from people in the music industry. I want to learn from them. I learned from them. That was the best thing in the world because then I could take that information and bring it back to the music industry, and it has proven extremely profitable. And so that is really where it came from, is me separating myself from the music industry, going and learning from other people outside of music. How did you grow that e-commerce brand? How did you grow your brick and mortar shop but using, funnels? How did you, how did you do that? And I saw the common thread, the common denominator between everything. And I was like, there's no logical reason why this wouldn't work inside the music industry. There's no way that the music industry is the one anomaly in all of existence where these tactics don't work. There's no way. And guess what? I was right. I brought them back. Worked like crazy. See what I'm saying?
Dude, I love that. That story is so unique. It's way different from a majority of the people that have talked about this stuff. And you're 100% right. This is something that I noticed too when I started my own business. Now, I'm a staunch listener of the Six Figure Home Studio podcast. I've recommended it a million times on this show. I'm sure some people have gone over to listen to it. I know some listeners have come over from the Six Figure Home Studio podcast and have joined me over in this podcast, which is awesome. I'm so thankful for those guys. But it was, when I started listening to that podcast and I started doing more research on this thing of making six figures with a home studio, it sounded so bizarre and so far-fetched. Like, I've obviously heard of record labels having studios and just studio owners with a brick and mortar store where, they have $100,000 studio and they bring, like, that sounds awesome, but so out of the realm of what I could possibly do. And they're probably making crazy amounts of money. And that seems more viable when you talk about that seems more like a business. And then when you look at electronic music producers or musicians in general, and you look at their marketing tactics, it has always felt almost like, well, there's not really a great way of marketing. You can promote, you can send your track to people, you can send it off to promo lists and send it to playlist curators. But if you don't know people who know people at big playlists or anything like that, you're not really going to get anywhere. And the same with you, man, where I was thinking there's no way that's not true. There's a way to market this stuff. It's just depending on like who your target market is, how you're going to market stuff, and what your product really is. And this is part of the reason, I talk about this a million times. You have to supplement your income for your career because you need the funds in order to set up marketing campaigns, get merch, do things yourself, because that's not, those things aren't really being handed out anymore by record labels. I would argue that the record label market is so saturated now that I feel like there's so many record labels that all have very low budgets, and there aren't many huge labels that are accepting smaller people that have the big budgets that can, do major marketing campaigns with you. So you really have to start taking it upon yourself, but you need to figure out what a good product is that you can sell that can supplement that, and marketing ties into that. And what part of what we're going to be talking about here in a little bit is about creating, that sales funnel or marketing your music to catch those leads so that you can promote another product that you have. And this could, if you're just a musician, just a producer, this could definitely be merch. I've got a lot of stuff I actually want to talk about and mention. Do you know who Chris Greenwood is?
Chris Greenwood is Manifest. And
yes.
Yeah, so I actually took one of his marketing courses very, very, very early on in the beginning.
No shit. Yeah. How'd you like it?
So very early on in the beginning. So this was before I even like separated myself from the music industry. And it was like like life changing. It was like the gateway drug into really starting to be like, wait, my suspicions are correct. There's something out there. You know what I mean? If I took it now, I'd be like, yeah, okay. But compared to what I know now, but yeah, still, it was like that. It was the gateway drug that led me to where I am now.
I mean, and that's kind of what I want to point to later on. But Chris Greenwood he has figured out a way to make money just selling his music in a very unique way, and in a way that not a lot of people, I think, have ever really done before. And I mean, he does physical sale copies of CDs still.
He does.
Which is crazy, because you would think, who's buying CDs? But he like proves a point that people are buying CDs. I think he said something like 10 to 20% of his sales are CDs, which is crazy.
It's just insane.
Yeah, in 2020, I mean, I think when I heard about him was last year in 2019, maybe even 2018, but still, like, we're still within the streaming world. It's not like CDs went away 2 years ago. CDs really started, you'd think they started going away probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, but I mean, they're still crazy. People are still making sales on CDs. But before we dive into everything, let's kind of go into your background with electronic music. How did you go from just the average person to starting to listen to electronic music to producing to then starting DAW Nation? And then let's get into a little bit about what DAW Nation is, as well as what your podcast is.
Awesome. That sounds great. So like I mentioned, I grew up in a town of 244 people. In fact, for those listeners who really want to know what it is and look it up, it's super fun. It's called Fayette, Utah. 244 people. When I left, there was only 243 people. That is a statistical fact.
Lord.
And so I grew up here, and being in the middle of Utah in farmland, virtually there's two things that you did. You hunted or you played sports, and that was it. And I loathed both. Like, I hated both of them so much. And so music, when we all came to the age of started listening to music that we listened to, that we wanted to listen to, not necessarily that our relatives wanted to listen to, not that our parents wanted to listen to, that happened for me at a very early age. And that actually happened not with electronic music, but with hip hop, which technically is electronic music, but we'll get to that in a minute. I got into that, and I got heavy into that. Oh my gosh, this skinny little white kid from the middle of Utah listening to gangster rap. Oh, it was a sight to see. And
who are you listening to, if you don't mind me asking?
Dude, NWA, Tupac, The Game, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, everyone on the West Coast, you know what I mean? And it was, like, I actually have Tupac painted on my wall at my house. Fun fact, it's super, super creepy.
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but it is so bizarre how similar our stories are. When I'm listening to DAW Nation, it's everything I would say. It's crazy how similar you and I are.
I love that.
Because I was the same thing. I got heavily influenced by hip hop. I have Kid Cudi painted on my wall in my fucking bedroom at my parents' house. It's hilarious hearing this. Anyways, go on.
Okay, that's awesome, man. So I fell in love with hip hop, and I started rapping around the age of 13, as one does, and I actually got really, really good at it. And that I started making more and more music. I built my own studios multiple times, and so on and so forth. Then, so I've been doing how do I say this? For about 10 years. That's how. Was it 10 years? Is around the time when I was like 21 years old. That I got married, and I started to fall in love with electronic music, because I remember listening. Oh man, I think it was. I can't. Oh yeah. It was. Oh man, this is a long time ago. It was the Adventure Club remix of Crave You. And
oh yes,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Classic.
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean,
that is a classic.
Yeah, by today's standards, the sound design is outdated, but by those standards, it was like, I remember listening to it and having this experience of, how is it possible that pure sounds, not words, not lyrics, but pure sounds could not only like open up this emotional cavern inside of me that I didn't know was there, but could actually like tell a story with it. Like I could actually like feel the story through sounds. You know what I mean? It was like, how is this? What? This is real? And so that's when I really got into electronic music, which is, a genre of music where the sounds tell the story. And I was like, this is unbelievable. You know what I mean? And so that's when I had the dream. I was like, okay, well, I want to do this. I want to make really dope sounds, and I want to make really dope music. and I want to rap on top of it. And so I started going down that path. And along the way, I realized that I had no idea what I was doing production wise. And so I went to virtually every single production school that one could conceive of. I went to Dubspot, I went to Icon Collective, I went to Point Blank, I went to the Recording Connections, I went to everything. You know what I mean? Like there's so many that I went to. And along the way, of course, like I mentioned, I got married, which you'd think that if you get married, your monthly expenditures would just double. No, that's not true. When you get married, they like quadruple. And then when you add another kid into that, it's like 8x at that point. It's like, well, how is this possible? Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so so along the way, I got married. I had 2 kids, and that brings us back to where we were discussing, like when I was going to Icon Collective, how I was like, holy crap, like I need to find a way to provide for my family. Like I was really hoping going into Icon Collective, I was pleading going into Icon Collective that there was something that I was going to learn along the way of how to turn this into a full-time career. And I did, to be fair, I did find something going to Icon Collective that would provide a full-time career for me. The unfortunate fact was that I absolutely refused to do it, which was touring. I refused to do it, right? So I didn't grow up knowing my dad very well, and I absolutely refused to put my kids through that. I refused it. If I was on tour and I got a call and it's like Sky just took her first steps, I would have imploded. You know what I mean? Or
I respect that so much.
Thank you. And so I was like, no, it's not going to happen. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put my family to the wayside. Like no success in the world will compensate for failure in the home. Period. End of discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, that sucks. I just spent a lot of money coming to Icon, pleading that I was going to find a way. No, I mean to increase my production skills for sure, but going there, pleading to find a way to provide for them. And everyone was like, I don't know, maybe start a Patreon then. You know what I mean? It was like, I don't know, figure it out. And I was like, okay, you guys, okay, this sucks. Okay, so, but along the way, I realized something. I remember when I learned, and this is, and now we're segueing into how we got into DAW Nation. Along the way, there was one thing that a teacher said, right, that actually like changed my life. There was a lot of good information there, but this was the one thing that actually like blew me away. And this is a conversation that I have a lot with up and coming producers. This is like the birds and the bees talk. Okay, this is the talk that you need to have right now. It may be uncomfortable, but we need to have moving forward. Which is, if you want people to work with you, if you want people to love you, if you want people to be around you and to support you, and so on and so forth, you have to bring value to them. If you ask value of them, it's stupid. That goes against all of human nature, right? And so
value adding is all about adding value.
That's right, dude.
Across the board, that is what everything is about. How are you adding value?
That's right. And it's funny because the teacher just kind of like mentioned it nonchalantly one day, like it was as though it was not worthy to go into more depth on. But when he said that, like my eyes just lit up, and I was like, oh, I see the vision. I get it, because all of a sudden all these experiences in my life came together. Like I remember one time I was at an ex-girlfriend's house and I did the dishes for her mom. All of a sudden the mom loved me, and it has, I don't want to say has loved me ever since because I'm no longer with her, but you know what I'm saying? And so, but, and also like I think about like, back when I went on dates, like I understood like the more value that I brought to the person I went on dates with, the more they want to be around me. The more value I bring to my kids, the more they want to be around me. The more value I bring to my friends, the more they want to be around me, right? And it's human nature, right? Like if there is someone that is making your life easier, that is bringing value to you, that is bringing experiences to you that are beneficial, that is taking pain away from you, you cannot stay away from that person. You know what I mean? Like that's like coded inside of you. And so when I had that realization, I was like, holy crap. Okay, here we go. And so immediately I acted on that. And I was like, okay, what pain point is Icon Collective having right now that I could solve? And immediately I had an idea. I was like, okay, there's 2 different versions of Icon. There's the online and there's the on ground. And the on ground is where they have really cool people, really good or really big producers come through and ask questions. But that only happens on ground. What if I moved it to online? What if I reached out to producers and had them do basically interviews like that through Icon? And I brought it to the director, and the director was like, holy freaking crap, dude, yes. Are you kidding me? What a great idea. I can't believe we haven't thought of that yet. And I was like, frick, okay, here we go. And so I started reaching out to people and we started connecting that way. And that's actually how I met AU5, fun fact. And after a while, when I was getting close to graduation, I was like, why am I doing this for Icon? Like, why am I doing this for a school that I don't, that I give a B- at best to? You know what I mean? It's like, man, like, why don't I do this for myself? And so that's when, at the time, I was connected with Multiplier, who has a big YouTube channel. And I was like, hey, I have this idea. What if we start a series where we brought these artists on to your channel and we had them dissect their songs, right? I already have all these connections from Icon that I've made personally, that Icon didn't make for me. I made them personally. And we could release it as a weekly episode. I'll schedule all the episodes. I'll do all the video editing, so on and so forth. And he's like, yeah, no, that's a great idea. And I was like,
I'll take the free content.
Yeah. He's like, are you kidding me? Yeah, that sounds great. And so I was like, again, adding value to Multiplier. That's why you wanted to work with me. And so that's, so we did it. It was an enormous hit. So that's where In the DAW came from. That's where the YouTube series In the DAW came from, where we invite artists to dissect their songs. And then along the way, I was like, hold up. There's a lot of people that I would love to interview that doesn't really fit it in the DAW format. Like, what about singers? Like, what about, like record label holders? What about XYZ person that's in the music industry that doesn't really, can't really dissect a song, so to say? I was like, and that's where Behind the DAW came from. That's where the podcast series came from, where I could just interview anyone that I wanted to and not focus on the technical side, but everything else that goes into music, right? And then along the way, I was like, okay, like this is really hard because people were like, wait, so there's In the DAW and there's Behind the DAW. So like, is In the DAW the company or is it the series? It's really complicated. And so I was like, okay, here we go. We'll etch a sketch everything. DAW Nation is the company. In the DAW is a series, and Behind the DAW is the series, and we have products underneath DAW Nation. DAW Nation is the overruler of it all, and so on and so forth. And so then we had that, and then Multiplier was like, hey, dude, you know how I'm letting you release on my channel all the time? I don't want you releasing on my channel all the time. And I was like, that's fair. It's your channel. I get it. I'll start my own thing. And he's like, high five. Good working with you, man. Good working with you too, bud. And so that's when we broke off and just created like our own independent DAW Nation everything. Does that... I know it's a very long story, but that answers your question.
Beautiful.
Okay,
I love it, man. It's so unique. That's what I love about you is everything you do is very unique and different, and you're innovating within an industry that feels like it's already innovated to the max. Yeah. But like there's thinkers like you that come around and really start changing the groundwork of everything and exposing kind of the industry within itself and sharing all of your knowledge, which is fantastic. And this goes into the book that I recommended to you when we were texting. That I'm gonna get your address. I'm starting to do this. I'm gonna get your address. I'm gonna get the book and I'm gonna send it to you. But it's The Go Giver, and I've mentioned this book. This is probably the 1,000,000th time. I mention it almost every other episode. But The Go Giver is basically about giving without any expectation. So the whole book is it's a business fable, very short, about 130, 140 pages. But it goes into like these really valuable life lessons that apply to business, but you can still apply it to your life. It's one of my girlfriend doesn't like business books, but it is one of her favorite books ever. Good. That's how good it is. It's hard to put down, but it's just all about adding value, giving to give, and helping as much as you can, and how that you create this karma-like effect that does come back to you. And you can say it's karma, but really it is just adding value. When you add value to someone without asking for anything in return, they respond to that and they understand it, and whether or not they're cognizant of it, they'll remember that, especially when they're, let's say like this podcast, for instance. Every once in a while, I give away as much free content as I possibly can, helping out producers so that they can go full time. And then, like I've listened to on your podcast as well, is, I sponsor my own episodes where I talk about mixing and mastering. So, the next time a producer is finishing up a track and they go, I really need to get this mastered, they might go, oh, who does mastering? That's right, Christian from Electronic Dance Money. Let me go to his website real quick. So it's that type of adding value that sticks with people, and they're more inherent to provide value back to you as well. In whatever factor that is. And it's really just, it's helping people, man. It does make the world a better place when you're helping other people out. It makes those people want to help others out as well, which, you're just spreading a great message there.
That's right. I completely agree with you.
I listened to you a couple weeks ago. I listened to, or I think it was a couple weeks ago, maybe a few days ago. I can't remember. But I listened to the Ben Gold episode of DAW Nation, and that episode was fantastic.
I'm glad
it was so well done. You hit on all of the points that I've always hit on. I was sitting in my car listening to it, being like, yes, just screaming at the radio, like, yes, this is so beautiful. You're talking about building a team. You're talking about how, you don't, and this is something I mention on very often, very frequently on this podcast. I mention producers, they want to be it all. They want to be the mixing engineer, they want to produce, they want to master, they want to market, they want to do all these things, but you can't. Like, that's very unrealistic. You do have to find people who are experts in that field that can just get things done for you. I can point to one of my clients who he came to me with, I've mixed and mastered a ton of his tracks, and then he stopped coming to me, and now he's coming back. His mixing has gotten much better. He's been doing a majority of his own mixing and mastering now, but he's starting to come back to me because he no longer has the time.
There it is.
So and that's a big thing. That's a big player as you start building momentum and getting better at this thing and getting a bigger following. It no longer becomes about the quality that you're putting out. It then becomes about the time that you need to save. And most of the time, it's way more worth giving someone a few $100s to do something for you that is done almost what feels like instantaneously, that you don't have to, you don't have to stress out about that. You trust someone that you can give that. And I love that message in that episode, because it's something that not a lot of producers realize. And I can't dig that message. I can't shove that message down the throat of producers as much. Like it really is something that needs to be taught to younger producers, because younger producers come in hungry thinking that they need to do it all. Otherwise they're a phony. And it's sad. It sucks, because it's so not true at all.
No, it's not true. In fact, this is fun because you gave accolades to my episode, and this is fun because now I can give accolades to your episode because it ties into what we're talking about. Your episode when you were talking about what producers can learn from McDonald's, right? And ultimately that tethered back to the book that both you and I have read, which has changed our lives, which is The E-Myth Revisited. In a nutshell, the entire book is about why most businesses fail. Like within what is it, like 95% of businesses fail within the first first 5 years,
3 to 5 years. Yeah.
And guess what, guys? What's inside of those 95 businesses? Music producers. Because guess what a music producer is? It is a business. You know what I mean? And so the idea, really, what it came down to is that these businesses, they didn't have systems for anything, and mainly they were trying to do first off, they didn't have systems, and the little systems that they did, they were all trying to do them themselves, right? They're trying to, the CEO is also the president, which is also the janitor, which is also the accountant, which is also the blah, blah, blah. And if that is not the story of every producer that's ever lived, I don't know what is. You are the producer, you are the vocalist, you are the mixing engineer, you are the mastering engineer, you are the marketer, you are the accountant, you are the email answerer, you are the so on and so forth, right? And to suggest that is what makes a good business, to suggest that you must do everything in order for your brand to remain pure, for it to blow up. Oh my gosh, listen, this is not a matter of opinion. This is a matter of fact. If you do that, you will get burned out and you will hate yourself because of it. Like how many producers do you know, Christian, and how many producers do that I know that come in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to, I'll do everything. I'll produce until, I'll produce 18 hours a day, and I'll do all the mixing, do all the mastering, only until, like a year later where they're like, I'm actually miserable. This actually sucks. I am so depressed right now. You know what I mean? Like 80% of people I know are like that. You know what I mean?
It happens far too often. It's what happened to me. This is my personal story. It's what I did. The podcast was created because I'm talking to myself from the past, all the things that I didn't do that I wish I would have done. And I would probably be way more successful as a music producer than I am now. But, what happened was I overworked myself. I thought I just needed to be in the studio 24/7. I was like, that's what I need to do. I need to make good music and get good music out there. And yes, there's, part of that is true, but it was so bad to the point where I was in the studio. I was forcing myself to be in the studio for 4 hours every single day. I couldn't come up with any good ideas. I was miserable. I was getting upset when I would close out my DAW and had nothing. And to the point where I got very depressed. I was starting to have anxiety. I had to go see a therapist because of this. Like it was serious. It was mentally draining and it was so exhausting. It was very bad for my health. And it wasn't until I took a step back where I was like, you know what? I need to stop. I'm just going to stop producing because this is not good. Where I then realized, like, there's a lot more to life than trying to be a successful musician. And then when I started to get back into producing, I took a pretty long hiatus. Like it was like 6 to 8 months or so. And then I started to get back into it, and I was like, you know what? I work a lot better when I help out other musicians. So let me see if I can collaborate with people or teach them some mixing stuff. And so I started to do lessons, and I realized I loved that. Like there was something, and this is going into, again, with the Go Giver stuff and just helping people out. There was something that felt way better being able to sit with producers, show them how to mix their track, and see the light bulbs go off and them get so excited with how much better their songs sound. And I realized, oh, you know what? I could go into this mixing business. Let me try that. And that's when I started to do more research on music, business in general, marketing in general. And I realized, oh my God, this is everything that's been missing. Like, this is my issue. This is why I got so fed up with producing, is because I was so focused and fixated on one thing, and I was ignoring all of the other important things like promoting, networking, marketing, like all of the very, very vital things to a successful career. And that's what burnt me out. It completely burnt, and I hated myself, and I just completely stopped doing it, which sucked. Like when I started producing, because I loved it, I had so much fun, and then it felt like a job that I wasn't getting paid for. And that's what sucks, when it starts becoming this job that you're not getting paid for, that you feel like you're a slave to because maybe you have a really big ego that you don't want to let down. That can be a struggle, man. Then you get into really, you can get into really dark places with that.
Of course. Oh, I'm so sorry that you've had to go through that. Yeah, because I went through the same thing and it freaking sucks, dude. And so I feel your pain, but we're out of that now, man. Well, I mean,
yeah,
we're always learning where there's always
Yeah.
optimization, but like we get the concept now. I really hope your listeners are getting that. I really hope they're crossing the epiphany bridge right now and they're like, "Dude, I get it.
They are, it's fantastic. So I've been doing the podcast for a year and a half now, and it was a slow burn, and respectfully so. You got to grind sometimes, and now I'm starting to, it's crazy. Within the past like month or two, I've had so many people hit me up talking like, the podcast, this is amazing. I just found this. This is like everything I've been looking for. And I'm like, yes, dude. It feels so great to get those messages where people are like, this is incredible. I mean, everything that I had been looking for is here that I need to start researching. And they're binging the podcast, it's just fantastic to see that people are actually getting value out of this sort of thing. Do you get the same response with your podcast?
Oh, dude. Yeah, no. Yeah. So this was something that I didn't realize that I even had. I mean, just because like when I get into work mode, like I get into work mode, you know what I mean? Like I turn off all forms of social media, even though, like when you're running a business, you really shouldn't turn off social media because that's how people connect with you. And so again, having someone look over the social media was really important. I just didn't do it until like literally last month. And so, but going through that and seeing how much it's changed people's lives is just, it's just insanity. You know what I mean? To be like, dude, like to know that I am bringing, much like yourself, I am bringing so much value to producers, that because of the pain that you and that I have went through, that we can not only share our experience and help people avoid those, but to help avoid them in the future by continuing to share those things that have brought us pain, and be like, listen, like, you see this fork in the road, bro, don't go left, go right. Well, frick yeah, you know, if you go left, there's a broken glass car. Car made of broken glass.
There's a cliff at the end of that road.
Broken glass cliff, frick. And so don't do that, you know. But you go this way, and so that's what we're doing. And so to see that, to see that genuine feeling of being like, holy crap, dude! Like, I was gonna go down this route, and then you stopped me from going down this route. Oh my gosh, thank you. It's like, mic drop. Okay, we're good.
This you know, the other thing too is the people who have already gone down that road, and then they hear an episode and they go, shit, like, okay, I see I've done this before and it didn't work out. And that builds the trust as well. Cause then they go, oh, and you know, that's what these, you know, with these podcasts, it really is about building that trust. You know, you need to build trust with people. And if someone sits down and listens to your podcast for an hour, that trust is immediately established.
So true.
Especially when you're getting into, you know, personal experiences and you're opening up being authentic. You know, if you have authenticity to what you're saying and how you're saying things, people resonate with that. They respect that, and that's another way you can build super fans.
That's right.
It's the same thing with musicians. You know, the goal is to build those super fans. If you have super fans, those are the people that are going to spread the message. Those are the people that are going to want to help you out and stick with you and buy your merch, buy your products, listen to your tracks. You know what? Let's start to shift focus and start going into, originally what we were going to talk about was we were going to go into creating a masterclass. I'm loving the synergy that we've got here. I'm probably going to want to bring you on for another episode in the future. So let's cut away from talking about creating a masterclass. We can save that for another date.
Okay, that's fine.
And let's shift focus and just kind of talk more about this marketing stuff with music. And I mean, essentially, let's get into one. If you're a producer out there, and you have a product in mind, you have an idea for something, you know, maybe you want to get into the mixing and mastering realm. Maybe you want to get into the sound design realm, like what we talked about with Zen World just a few weeks ago. If you're wanting to shift focus into something that you're really good at, that you want to share with others and you want to turn into a product, how can you create a lead magnet and a sales funnel? But more specifically, we were talking about this on the phone. Because this is something that both you and I have talked or have thought about and know that there's something here, and that's creating a lead magnet and a sales funnel with your own music. I'm very curious as to what your experience is with this and what your ideas for this type of thing are. I've also got some things I would like to bring up in a little bit as well, going into talking about touring, because, you know, I'm sure a majority of producers here are not like us and would like to tour and would like to play a lot of shows. So I have an idea about creating lead magnets and sales funnels and whatnot for playing a show in a specific area through creating ads and whatnot. But I'm going to kind of give you the floor. Go on, and I'm curious about what your experience is with lead magnets and sales funnels in terms of, you know, personal music productions.
So this is something I've been thinking about a lot, and implemented it to some extent, but not. So full disclaimer, have I fully implemented and tested at length the strategies that I'm going to be saying? The answer is not with music, but 100% with my own stuff, like with my own products. So this is, again, we are going to put on our big boy boots now, and we are going to put on our thinker hats, and we are going to commit to each other right now and say, The music industry is not some anomaly style industry. The music industry is just like any other industry. Things are not different. Marketing is marketing is marketing is marketing. Just because it's music doesn't mean that things change. Okay, so
we're all running a business.
We're all running a business here, right?
Whether you like it or not, we're all running businesses.
We're all running businesses here. If you want this to be a full-time thing, it's a business, period. And so, all the objections that are come, oh, but this is music, so it's different. No, go to timeout. You can come back in a minute.
It's creative. It's emotional, though. It's about what you. Yes, but
so is movies.
If you want to be successful, you want to sell stuff. If you want to tour. It's a business.
It's a business. And but it's emotional, but it's creative. So is movies. Guess what's profitable? Movies. Guess what's profitable? Books. Also emotional. You know what I mean? Art in general. Do not tell me that music is the only thing in all of existence that can't apply these principles. Don't tell me that. And so, so with that being said, there is one more thing that I need to clarify, which is for those coming in that may not know what a funnel is and how that compares to a website. So it's very, very simple. Very, 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 very simple. A website is the equivalent to, imagine you need to buy a grill and you go to Walmart and you're met by someone at the front and they said, "Hi, we're Walmart. We have books and food and carpet and rugs and TVs and gum and all that kind of stuff." And you're like, "Oh, thank you." Okay. And then you're like, "What the frick do I do?" Right? A funnel is like you're being met by someone that you actually want to talk to, not the creepy Walmart greeters, but like the actual someone that's like, "Hey, you're looking for a grill." "I am looking for a grill." "Well, there's these grills that are really, really good, and there's these reviews, and those grills have those problems, and blah, blah, blah." "Oh, sweet." All right, after you buy a grill, you're like, "Okay, do you have like charcoal, or are you going propane, or what do you?" "Oh, shit, I didn't even think about that." "Okay, well, here's these, and here's this, and are you more of a hamburger guy or a hot dog guy?" "Oh, I'm actually more of a hamburger." "Okay, well, here's these hamburger." It's like you cannot, a funnel slicks up the runway as much as possible. It like just takes out all the barriers, all of the point of exits that like people could get confused about. It's like easy. You just fall into it. You're like, "Oh, I get it. It's just one thing, it has one purpose. It's selling one thing, it answers objections and so on and so forth." Right? Is that a pretty good explanation between funnel and website? Okay.
Yeah. I'll add on to that. So, when you're looking at the top of the funnel, it's going to be obviously the widest part.
Yes.
And as you move down the funnel, it is literally the shape of a funnel, or think of an upside down pyramid. It gets smaller and smaller as you get to the bottom. So, the top of it is a wide net, like you're saying, grills in general. Well, there's a lot of different types of grills, so we need to break down and find out what grill specifically you're looking for.
That's right.
So as you're at the top, you're eventually either going to stay in that funnel or go, "This is not what I'm looking for. I'm going to go somewhere else."
Yep.
And so at that point, if you go somewhere else, you're no longer in the funnel, but eventually you'll start moving down the funnel and talking about cold leads. Cold leads are at the very top of the funnel. And as you get down the funnel, they become warmer and warmer until they're extremely hot and ready to buy. So the buying part is at the very bottom of the funnel. And slowly as you move down, when you get to the middle of the funnel, you really start to realize that you have a problem in this area and that someone's here trying to solve it for you. And then as you get to the bottom of the funnel, they're saying, "This is what you get for this price, and I'm going to solve that problem for you."
That's right. That's absolutely right. And if you guys want to learn more about funnels, there's a really great book that you can get for $10 shipped right to your door. It's called .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. One of the best books ever in all of existence.
I'm about to pick that up. I'm so excited.
Good. Like, it's really, really good. Teaches about the different types of funnels that you can use and so on and so forth. So highly encourage you for everyone to check that out. So now the question is, okay, how do we use funnels to grow our music, right? Again, music industry is not different than any other industry. We can use funnels to grow our music, and you should. It's the future. You should totally do it. So now the question is, how do we create a lead magnet? Actually, before we get into the lead magnet, what we want to do is what's called a funnel map. A funnel map is like, okay, what is the overarching bird's eye view of the funnel? And in my experience, from all the funnels that I have ran, which has been a lot, by the way, the funnels that I would suggest is this. At the very front of the funnel, the very first page of the funnel, well, actually, let's start at the very, 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 very beginning, which is an ad. You run an ad through Facebook, through Instagram, through YouTube, through Snapchat, through TikTok, wherever you want to run the ad, right? And this ad leads to an opt-in page, a page where you get some form of their information, an email, signing up for a messenger bot, a text, like getting their number to put onto a text message list, so on and so forth, just some form of of traffic that you can own at that
Collecting
point.
that lead.
Exactly.
You want to collect that lead.
Exactly. And so that's the first part. And then the part after that, after they have given you something, right? They're giving you some form of contact. The next part in the funnel is you getting them more indoctrinated into your community, into your world, right? Getting them to show up on your Twitch streams, getting them to join your Discord channel, getting them to Discord server, getting them to join your Facebook group, getting them to something immediately. You get to put them into a community where they can be fostered and where they can be really turned into some hot leads at that point. And then at the very end of the funnel is when you pitch them something to buy. Most of them won't buy, but some of them will. And later on, remember, because they're in your community and you have their information now, you can warm them up over time in order to get them to become paying customers in some fashion or another. And so, for example, if let's do a real live example right now. I'm gonna pluck someone out of the ether that I know that I really like. Let's say Tim Shalford. Do you know Tim Shalford?
I don't know Tim Shalford.
Okay, he's amazing. Amazing, chill producer. Oh my gosh, incredible. Okay, so let's say that Tim Shalford releases a song. Let's say that it's called, what is in this room? Okay, don't make it creepy, Wyatt. There's a baby crib. We're not going to call it baby
Yeah, that's right. You're in your nephew's room.
Yeah, I'm in the nephew's room right now. Frick, I'm traveling. I've got
soda water right here.
Soda water, sure. Tim Shalford, soda water. High five. Okay, so we got soda water. So Tim Shalford is going to run an ad promoting his song. It's like, hey, here's this song. It's really dope. I'll send it to you. Whether it's like a digital download or just like if you want to listen to it, I'll send you a link to whatever platform that you like to listen on. Something like that. Whatever strategy you want to go with that. Then they click on the ad, they're taken to the next page. They enter in some type of information, an email. They click a button and connect their Facebook Messenger. They put in their text message, whatever it is, right? Whatever you want, whatever type of lead you want to collect. And then after they do that, they're brought to the next page, which is like, by the way, Tim Shalford, dude, like he has this really dope Discord channel. And in this Discord channel, he gives out a bunch of exclusive stuff and does like feedback live streams, and he does live streams about this, that, and the other, and they meet every week and do this and blah blah blah. It's like a community. It's like an actual like family. And it's like, if you want to join, you totally can. You just have to like click this button right here and it'll automatically join you to this community. And it's like, shoot, yeah, like I resonate with Tim Shalford. Like I really believe in this type of music that he's making and what he stands for and so on and so forth. Like, yeah, like sure, like why not? Let's do it. It also would be, I would also encourage you that to give them some type of incentive. If you sign up for, or if you join my Discord, if you join my Twitch channel, whatever, I'll actually send you something else that you didn't know you were gonna get. I'll send you another song. I'll send you another song that I think you're really gonna like, or I'll send you it's a lyric sheet or just something. You know what I mean? Like fill in the blank of something, right?
This is where the adding value really starts to come in. You want to add as much value as you can up front to make that lead as warm as possible.
That's right. And then let's say that they do. Let's say that they sign up for the community somehow. Then you pitch something on the back end. By the way, this is going to work really well with the coronavirus going on. By the way, I'm actually doing a live stream show tonight, and tickets are $3. And if you come through, I'll give you a shout out. Like I'll have a whole list of everyone that came through and shout you out. Thanks so much, John and Jerry, and apparently everyone has a J name in the chat. You know what I mean? Like you can do that, and you just sell them something small. It's like, yeah, just come through. Like it's $3. It's not much. I'll give you a shout out. Again, adding that value to, sure, yeah, that sounds great. Like why not? You know what I mean? Most people won't do it, but some people will. And this is how you can not only have a funnel that is going to get people to know about you, to get people to find out about you, to get your name out there. But if you have something on the back end that's actually making money, at minimum, this should break even, which means that you're getting free leads. You're getting people to find out about you consistently for free. And in the best circumstances, you're actually making a profit off the front end. You know what I mean? And then, of course, well, the end goal is, of course, to get really profitable, which is once they're in your world, then you have something inside of your world that's more expensive. Like once they're in their community, and you're like, oh, by the way, I have XYZ, I have this, that, and the other that you could sell them. I have private lessons. I have these really extra special live streams. I only allow 50 people in because it's blah, 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 right? And it's $50 a ticket or whatever. You know what I mean? You have something much more expensive on the inside, but still like that in and of itself, I mean, even like, even at the bare minimum, to have something that consistently every single hour of every single day having, it's bringing people into your world and you're breaking even, dude, then it's like, sweet. All right. I'm spending $50. I'm getting 1,000 people per day to find out about me. Well, and I'm breaking even. So it's like, I'm not losing any money. What if we crank it up to $500? I'm still breaking even, but now instead of 1,000 people, now I'm having, 5,000 or whatever. I can't remember what the number is. It's a lot of freaking people finding out about you. You know what I mean? It's like, shoot, this works. You see how this is all going?
Mm-hmm. And this is something that I'm finding really interesting, that I'm really wanting to dive into more, and it's the lifetime value of someone who might be a listener of your music and how you can run ads to capture a listener, and what the cost of that conversion is. And if you guys don't know what a conversion is basically someone who does what you want them to do. So if you're running an ad to get someone to sign up on your email list, the conversion would be them clicking on the ad and them actually signing up for the email list. That is someone who is converted over into a lead. So I'm very interested in finding out what the cost of a conversion is, and then the lifetime value of that listener or customer or client, whoever it is, especially with music and like streams, because there's not really a good way. And this is a great product idea that hopefully in the future can be developed by someone. But being able to track someone when they listen to your song, how many times they specifically have listened to your song, so you can track how much money they've basically generated for yourself. Because then you can start determining the lifetime value of that person. So if it cost you $3 to get that person to, convert into a fan, and they religiously listen to your music, well then, maybe they need to play your song 100 times for you to break even on that. So then you get into some really interesting numbers here where you can see how ads for your music can actually work pretty well. I have no idea what that would look like.
Oh,
it's
dude. It already exists, except the music industry won't let it be implemented. And that's the thing that sucks, is because what you're talking, the technology exists. I use it every day.
Yeah.
So there's actually two different companies that you can get, or that you can sign up for, that would do that in a sales funnel. One is called Hyros and one is called Wicked Reports. And it's literally exactly what you just said. Like, it's the attribution model, right? It's like the attribution. What's the lifetime, kind of story of the customer? How many times do they come to this page? How many times do they have to see this? And did they see this video over here? And do they go to your YouTube channel? And so on and so forth. The technology exists. Spotify will not allow it to be implemented. You know what I mean? If literally, it would literally take a grand total of 20 seconds, Spotify, 20 seconds to allow us to just put one small little pixel onto this page, onto our Spotify pages. And so we would know, okay, this person came here 30 times. They listened to this, blah, blah, blah. And then they went and bought this. And you know what I mean? It's like,
and that needs to be implemented in this world of streaming, where Spotify is expecting artists to make money off of streams. And listen, a lot of people, I don't know how you feel about this. I know a lot of producers hate Spotify because they think they rip producers off. I strongly disagree. I think Spotify takes a major loss most of the time. They don't make a huge profit. And what it really comes down to is, the record labels are making a majority of the money because they usually hold a majority percentage. So they're making most of the money there, and producers aren't getting a big cut out of that. And I mean, at that point, you have to weigh out, okay, well, do I want to go with a record label who's going to help me, who's going to help, hopefully will help fund more of the marketing side of things and get me in front of people that I wouldn't normally be in front of? Or do I want to go with collecting all of the revenue and all the stream money myself, and I will do all of the marketing and all of the promoting? And, you have to weigh what you want to do, if you have the team available to do it, if you have the funds available. There's a lot of different factors that play into that, but regardless, this definitely needs to be something implemented within analytics. I mean, it is,
come on.
It's lunacy to be like, okay, well, I want to run ads for my music, but I have no idea if I'm making money off it. There is absolutely nothing. The only thing you could possibly think of doing is literally tracking the amount of clicks you get every day compared to the amount of stream plays you're getting every day. But once you start getting into the big high numbers, that's much more difficult to track, especially if you get playlisted. I mean, you can't differentiate who's coming from ads and who's not. So it's a very difficult thing to track, but that's gotta be implemented.
It has to be.
It's lunacy. But going back into sales funnels, there's multiple different kinds of sales funnels, and there's multiple different kinds of buyers as well, different buyer personalities. There's people who are more willing to wait to buy something and kind of invest more time into researching on topics and will take a long time to buy. And then there's kind of buyers in the middle of that. And then there's buyers who are like me, who buy instantaneously. I'll do it, dude. I'm a webinar whore. I love webinars. I love learning. Not only that, but they always get me at the end where, when I buy a webinar, or I buy a course, I should say, I always invest the time and go through the entire course because I want to get my money's worth. I never know if I'm going to learn something very valuable, but they get me every single time when they get to the end and they give their pitch where their product is 50% off. And I'm like, boom, I'm pulling out my credit card before they're even mentioning a price, because I know it's going to be a crazy deal. And those are very rapid, quick buyers. And that's what webinars are really made for, are those quick sales funnels. The entire webinar is a sales funnel. When you get the ad for the webinar, that's the top of the funnel. They're going, hey, do you struggle with this? Well, I'm going to teach this for an hour for free. Just click on here, enter in your email address, blah, blah, blah. They've already collected my email address. They're adding me onto an email list where they're going to start another sales funnel for me, just in case I don't, go through the webinar and buy. But then through the entire webinar, they're adding value. That's the middle part of the funnel. They're solving the issue for me. And then at the end, they present me with another problem, which is kind of a bigger overarching story. And they go, we solve this, all of these problems within this course for this price. And at that point, I'm at the bottom of the funnel. I'm a hot lead and I buy into it and I convert. So you can have that type of sales funnel. On my website, I have a sales funnel from top to bottom. If you go to my website, if you go to enviousaudio.com, you can see my sales funnel. I present you with a problem that you more than likely have, which is mixing and mastering. And I talk to you about the services I provide, why I want to, or how I'm providing value. And then I showcase my work so you can go, oh, wow, I want my song to sound like this. And then I have a contact form that I want you to convert in. So you can have, and then we've also talked about this in previous episodes, specifically about email marketing. Email marketing is all sales funnel based. You get someone in there, you have an email marketing campaign of 5 to 10 emails or something where you're providing value, you're providing, you're showing problems that the person has with solutions. And then towards the end of that, you're going to market and offer a service or something where they're going to convert into a paid lead of some sort.
Yep. No, you got it. You hit the nail on the head, dude. That's it.
Awesome. Sweet, dude. Wyatt. Yeah. Well, go ahead, plug away, baby.
Oh, yeah,
this was awesome.
That's right. Selfish train. Here we go. Okay.
Yes.
So if anyone that is listening right now wants to consistently learn from producers that are actually crushing it in the industry, like learn how to, how did AU5 make that sound in that song, or how did Crywolf do this thing in his song, or so on and so forth. If you want to continually learn that, I would highly encourage you to go over to our in the DAW series over in the DAW Nation YouTube channel, as well as on the DAW Nation podcast. So you can partake of that over there. I'd also highly encourage you to check out our Behind the DAW series, which focuses more on the emotional, philosophical, branding, marketing side of music. I'd highly encourage you to check out that. And if you're like on the next level, you're like, okay, like I need like an enormous amount of really, really, really good knowledge, I'd highly encourage you to go over to dawnation.net and check out our courses over there. We have a very, very, very legendary sound design course with AU5 where he shows his exact overarching techniques of how he can continually create an unlimited amount of sounds forever for the rest of his life that will never get old. And that whole course is about the techniques to plug into that. It's really, really, really cool. We also have another course that we just launched with Crywolf, who's one of the most creative people on earth. And it's all about a system on how to be creative every single day, no matter what emotional stage you're at in life, no matter what kind of finances you have, no matter what is going on in your life, you can be creative every single day. And his system will teach you how to make 30 songs in 30 days. Like it's actually stupid. Like when I was making it with him, I'm like, are you sure you can deliver on that? And at the end of it, I was like, okay, dude, like you nailed it. This was really good. And so, anyways, there's those over there. We also have a lot of other courses that I'd highly encourage you to check out. However, if you want to check those out, DAWNation.net is where you can partake of those over there. I'm going to hop off the selfish train now, if that's okay.
If you guys want a good representation of what great ads look like and what a great sales funnel looks like, I was telling Wyatt when we were first on the phone discussing this episode, go to DAWNation.net and then just leave. I mean, obviously stay there to check out, buy the courses, definitely buy the courses. But if you're interested in seeing what a sales funnel looks like, just go to their website. He's got a Facebook pixel set up. And within a couple of days, you'll be scrolling through Facebook and you'll see DAW Nation ads pop up. And his ads are fantastic. I was telling Wyatt, every once in a while, I go back onto DAWNation.net just to get sucked back into the funnel so that I can see what he's doing and see how he's running marketing stuff, because I learn a lot from that stuff. There's two ads that are fantastic. There's an ad here locally in Austin that I get on social media by Aces Jiu-Jitsu. If you look up Aces Jiu-Jitsu in Austin, Texas, and go to their website, you'll get sucked into their pixel. They have a hilarious ad that they run on social media. But you have, I don't know which ad is better. Your ad where you're dressed up as a cowboy in the country is the best thing I've ever seen. It is so hilarious and so good. Are you still running that ad?
Yeah. So it's the Beat Farmer ad. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're actually launching 3 more ads just like it. So
yes. Really, oh my God, dude. You got to send them to me just to look at, because they're hilarious. Oh, is that one of your best ads?
That is by far like the best ad. So you've ran ads, so you know how much pushback you get on ads. That was the ad where everyone was like, okay, like I got nothing bad to say. This is dope.
It's comedy. It is comedy. So Contagious dives into this about emotion. There's a few different emotions you can drive out of people that get them to buy into a product or make a product go viral. Those who care share. So anger is a great emotion. You want like really mind stimulating emotions. Anger, comedy, sadness is okay, but not a great one to go with. And then like excitement stuff. Comedy is by far like 100%. One of the best ones, but that's why you'll see like clickbait articles that get people angry. Those are the ones that get shared the most, because anger is a really strong emotion that gets that mind stimulated. So, man, I just had to say, I love that ad. If you guys want to see those ads, just get into their sales funnel by going to their website, and I'm sure you'll start seeing them. Anyways, man, Wyatt, thank you so much for coming on. I was looking forward to this for a while now, and just leading up to it, all the talk we've been doing, it's just fantastic to have you on. I'm so excited to see everything that you're doing with DAW Nation and where it's going to go. I mean, congrats to you, man. Kudos. You're a goddamn machine. Keep it up. I love it, man.
Thank you, dude. And I just want to end off on actually giving you praise as well, because I sent you a text yesterday and I was like, dude, you're one of the few people in the industry that actually get it. Okay. And you are. And so for all of the listeners of this podcast, you are in very, very safe hands. When I was listening to this, like this very, 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 very rarely happens. I've talked to virtually everyone in the industry by virtue of my podcast, and very rarely do I talk with someone that's like, okay, like you get it. Like you're like, you get the mindset, you get the systems, you get the concepts that goes into like a thriving career. You get the music industry, like left to its own devices, is broken, but we can make it into something better, something much more thriving. You know what I mean? Like you get it. And so everyone that's listening, you're in safe hands. I highly encourage you to keep listening to this podcast.
Thank you so much, Wyatt. I appreciate it. And dude, we're gonna have to do this again. But yeah, this was awesome. It was so great to sit down with you, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you having me.
All right, take care. Well, that is it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. This was such an awesome conversation to have with Wyatt. He is so badass, super kind. He knows his stuff. Go check out his podcast, DAW Nation. to continue this conversation, I mean, not just to continue this conversation, but there's so much knowledge there. I mean, just an entire back catalog of amazing producers that you guys can learn from. Highly suggest it. But if you guys want to hear more about this topic with marketing your music, creating sales funnels, getting your lead magnets set up, figuring out how to sell your product, go check out his latest episode on DAW Nation. We decided to split this episode in half. So if you want to continue this conversation, if you want to figure out how to utilize that sales funnel for you and to really jumpstart your music sales or whatever your product is that you're trying to sell, go over to his podcast, look up DAW Nation, wherever you listen to podcasts. It should be the most recent episode. But if you guys can't find it, head on over to enviousaudio.com/episode 42. All of the show notes will be there, including all links to everything we talked about in this episode, as well as the links that we talk about in the episode on DAW Nation. And there will be a link to the DAW Nation episode for you guys there as well. Again, I highly, highly, highly suggest you guys go check that out. I promise you'll want to finish this and find out all of the awesome, wonderful secret sauce, because it is so great. So if you enjoyed this episode, head on over to DAW Nation, listen to that. Also, go to Apple Podcasts, rate and review the show. Let me know how you like it, what you hate about it. Be as honest as you'd like, but I'd love to see your guys' feedback. If you're struggling with mixing and mastering, if you want to sound like the pros, if you want to get tracks mastered and mixed so they stand up to all of the biggest names that you could think of, go on over to enviousaudio.com, scroll down to my contact form, fill it out, let me know how I can help you. Let's get talking. Let's figure out how we can make your career 10 times better. Other than that, the next episode's coming out on Christmas. A little gift for you guys. It'll be a good one. It's a fun one. Got another guest, so you guys get two. You get guests two episodes in a row. Really, it's actually going to be 3 because the next one's going to be a 2-parter. It's that long. It's that good. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of you. I hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you next time on Electronic Dance Money.